Debt is a huge part of modern life, impacting people from all walks of life no matter how much money they make, their education level, or their social status. We often think people end up in debt because of unavoidable financial mistakes or tough economic times. However, the reasons people stay stuck in debt are much more complicated and honestly pretty surprising. Let's take a look at the real reasons behind chronic debt. Spoiler alert, it's not good. My name is Chris, and I help teach people about money, personal finance, and investing. If you're interested in improving your financial future, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if this video is helpful. People get used to being in debt pretty young, usually right after high school when they head to college. It starts with student loans, which everyone says are necessary for a better future. They can certainly lead to a better career path, but only if they're utilized wisely. The idea of just borrow now and worry about it later gets drilled into their heads by parents, teachers, counselors, and society, making it seem like immediately going the college route is the only way. Credit card companies also target students, making it seem normal to borrow for anything they want or need. This early exposure makes debt seem like a regular part of life, and it sticks with them as they become adults. For many, they accept the fact that they'll be in debt for the full term of the loan, as if they have no other choice. As a result of these added monthly obligations, their ability to save, invest, or make big life choices like buying a house or starting a family is limited because they're already juggling debt. Without good financial education and support, breaking free from this debt cycle is tough, leaving many feeling like their only choice is to make the minimum payments. Some people view debt as completely normal, and it may be, but that's not to say normal is a good thing. People learn that borrowing money is a standard part of life, whether it's for education, buying a car, or simply managing everyday expenses. This normalization is reinforced by seeing peers, family members, and even public figures regularly using credit. The media often portrays debt as a typical aspect of adult life, and advertisements frequently encourage consumers to use credit for purchases they can't immediately afford. With debt being so commonplace, it loses its stigma and becomes just another financial tool, making people less cautious about accumulating it. Financial institutions promote various forms of credit aggressively, making it easily accessible and further entrenching the idea that borrowing is completely normal. When debt is seen as an unavoidable part of life, there's less urgency to pay it off quickly or avoid taking on more, trapping many in a continuous cycle of borrowing and repayment. This mindset creates a complacency around debt management, leading people to prioritize other goals over becoming debt-free, ultimately making it harder to break free from the cycle. The majority of those around us aren't really motivated to improve their financial situation. While some people are making it a priority to set aside an hour or more every day to grind away at their side hustle, others are putting in the minimum at work, heading home, and lounging on the couch for the rest of the day. This lack of motivation can happen for a bunch of reasons, like feeling stressed about money or thinking there's no way to get ahead. Basically, a feeling of helplessness can crush any dream of success. When people are overwhelmed by their debt or don't see a bright financial future, they might focus more on enjoying the present rather than worrying about long-term goals. Managing day-to-day expenses and dealing with debt can drain their energy and make it hard to go after better jobs, extra education, or smart investments. Without strong motivation to boost their finances, people often keep using credit to maintain their lifestyle. This lack of motivation can get worse, making it feel like there's no way out of debt. Debtors don't really get how bad it can be. When you zoom out and take a look at the big picture, you can see that it quite literally costs you your retirement. Every month, people pay hundreds of dollars in interest to the banks, making the banks rich. In reality, if they came up with a plan to reverse the cycle, they could begin paying themselves and earning interest on their own money and generating compounded returns, lining their own pockets and making themselves rich. They see borrowing money as a quick fix for their problems without realizing the long-term consequences. It's a lot quicker and easier to walk into a car dealership and borrow $40,000 rather than save up over the course of several years and have the ability to pay cash. They don't always think about high interest rates and fees can add up over time. Plus, they might not see how having those monthly obligations can hold them back from reaching their goals, like saving for emergencies or investing in their future. Without realizing the full impact, they keep relying on credit to get by, not realizing they're just making things worse in the long run. Have you ever heard someone say, I don't want to invest my money, I want to enjoy it now. Or, what good is $1 million going to be when I retire? It probably won't be worth that much anyway. One big reason people don't bother getting out of debt is they tend to prioritize short-term pleasures over long-term financial health. This is called present bias, where people focus on immediate rewards, like eating out, shopping, or going on vacations, instead of saving money or paying off debt. Everyone wants to enjoy their money now, but who wants to be forced to continue working until they can no longer get out of bed? The pull of instant gratification is strong, making it hard to resist spending even when they know it's not good for them in the long run. So, they keep piling up debt, enjoying the moment now and ignoring the future impact, all while making silly statements about why they would rather spend the entirety of their income rather than invest a portion for their future, completely missing the importance of balance that not only pertains to money but all aspects of life. Another huge reason people stay in debt is because of pressure from their peers. There's this idea that you have to keep up with everyone else, even if it means spending money you don't have. Many people would rather look rich and have nothing than actually be rich. As mentioned, this societal pressure begins by choosing a prestigious college instead of a more economical option, and this starts it all. Whether it's buying a fancy car, going on expensive vacations, or having the latest gadgets, there's this pressure to show off your success, even if it's quite literally keeping you broke. Social media makes it even worse by constantly bombarding us with images of people living these seemingly perfect lives. It's easy to feel like you're falling behind if you're not keeping up. In order to fit in and feel good about themselves, people often end up racking up debt to fund their lifestyle, but in reality, it's just trapping them in a cycle of borrowing and paying back. And the more they try to keep up, the deeper they can get into debt because they're not actually addressing their financial situation. You might know someone that lacks any sort of direction with their money. They simply don't take a minute to 1. Figure out where they want to be headed, and 2. They don't take a second to realize what impact things like a $1,000 car payment will have on their situation. Someone with a clear sense of direction would stop and ask themselves what their future self would think of such a decision. Without clear financial goals or a solid plan, it's easy to lose track of spending and saving. These individuals end up stumbling in circles, gazing up at the sky with no direction whatsoever. Many people don't budget or track their expenses, leading to unintentional overspending and increased debt. This lack of direction means they aren't prioritizing debt repayment or saving for future needs. Without a roadmap, it's hard to make progress, and they end up feeling stuck in a cycle of debt with no clear way out. People end up in debt for all sorts of reasons, some of which might seem pretty silly. Maybe they just don't know any better, or they're not into thinking about the future, or they really don't care about finding a balance. Whatever the reason, many folks end up filling the pockets of banks instead of actually building up wealth on their own.